Are you watching this in order? No, you're probably watching, like, I probably took 16 different clips and rearranged them a million times to make something coherent. So that was kind of smart. I was kind of like, yeah, cool, like, that'd be good to, like, do as a thing. What the fuck is this video? Literally no one is gonna watch this. Am I gonna scrap 100% of this footage? If you're watching this, I guess not. Welcome to my channel. My name is Andrew. Today we're gonna talk about City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. What can I say that has not already been said, that you have not already heard? Not much, because this book was published 13 years ago. Just give a brief summary of what's happening in the book. We're following Clary Frey, who has decided that she's going to go to a club with her best friend, and basically in like the first chapter she meets these three other characters that are killing demons, and she's like, yo, what's going on with that? And she just gets carried away into the world of demon hunting. If you've never heard of these books, I have a pretty terrible video that explains what they're about that I will link up here, down below somewhere. It will be linked. It was like it's my second video, so it's pretty terrible. But there's other explanations of the series if you've never heard of them that you should definitely check out, because people explain it way better than I do. But so if you don't know what I'm talking about, you want to reference that video, there it is. Today I'm going to go more in depth than any of my other videos. All my other videos have been pretty non-spoilery for the most part. So now that we're getting into individual book reviews, I'm definitely going to be a little bit more spoilery on my thoughts. Will I ever make a video that's not about Shadowhunter books? Hopefully. So the first two people that I found on BookTube weren't huge fans of this series, and I was kind of confused because I'd never heard of these books at all. I didn't read them in middle school or high school. I had never heard of them. I had just discovered BookTube, and then these were also being mentioned by a couple people that said that they didn't love these books. And I was just confused because I had never heard anything about the books, positive or negative. I didn't actually read any of these books until May of this year, and I couldn't really tell you why. And there were so many people talking about them, good or bad, and I just wanted to know where I would be once I read them. So I love them. I've now read a lot of them. So non-spoilery thoughts on this individual book. I really enjoyed the plot. I really enjoyed the world building. I really enjoyed the characters. I feel like Cassandra Clare does a really good job with her characters and making you care about them a lot. I do think I'm more into the plot over the characters, and there's so much happening in this plot. I just did a little bit of skimming through the book again, just to kind of like refresh myself and my thoughts on the book. I really don't know what to say without getting into spoilers, because I haven't gotten into spoilers yet, and it's time. So if you have not read this book and you want to read this book, you can leave, because I need people to know how I feel about these books when I talk about them and why I feel the way I feel. To discuss characters, first of all, Clary Fairchild she's okay. I'm sorry. If you love Clary, you do you, boo. Like, you do you. She's a little better than okay. She's good. She's like good. She's not great. She's good. I feel like she is a pretty good protagonist. She kind of feels like things just happen to her a little bit. Like, she doesn't really seem to have her own motivations as to what she's doing. Simon is absolutely amazing. Simon is my favorite character. Simon is my favorite character. He's Jewish. He's nerdy. He likes Dungeons and Dragons. I don't even know why I connected with him so much. I honestly couldn't tell you why. He's just so amazing, but I just like really wanted everything that happened. Like, I just wanted to read about Simon. I wanted like just read about Simon. Isabel, who most people also put at the top of their list. So I don't have a whole lot of unpopular opinions here. Like, it's just how it works out. It's just how it worked out. I'm sorry. I'm not really bringing anything new to the table. Simon is amazing. Isabel is amazing. Most people that I know also don't really like Clary or Jace. And I get it. Like, they're not, I'm sorry, they're not. They're not why I'm interested. They're not why I'm invested. I'm invested because of Simon and Isabel and Alec, who in this book, he's kind of trash in this book. Like, he's not good. He's not a good character in this book. He's just an asshole for no reason the entire book to Clary, because like he's so angry that Clary showed up and like stole Jace from her, I guess is the point. And that whole situation with Clary being like, oh, is Alec gay? Just, it's literally like a scene where they're just like hanging out in like Isabel's room, and they're literally just talking, or not, they're not even be talking. And you just, all of a sudden, Clary's just like, is Alec gay? It just feels very like that meme that's like, no one, literally no one. Clary, is Alec gay? Like, just, where did that come from? I didn't love that. Luke he's good. Oh, he is so good. He is such a good little father figure. Jace, I have not said my thoughts on Jace. I think that if Simon and Jace's interactions hadn't been so stupid, I would have liked Jace better. But I just felt like Jace was so unnecessarily rude to Simon. There were just so many times where there was no reason to be that rude. Like, there was just no reason to be, like, he's so rude. I love Simon, and he was just so rude to Simon. And I feel like if that wasn't, like, if he hadn't been rude to Simon, I probably would have liked him so much better. But he was rude to Simon, so I have to hate him because I love Simon. So to kind of discuss the plot in chronological order, the beginning of the book, we have, of course, like, her mom gets kidnapped. That moved the plot along, so I liked that. I did really enjoy the entire interaction of, like, Clary asking Jace, like, a million questions about, like, how the world worked. And, like, I think a lot of people have complained that was info dumpy. So I guess I've decided that I don't hate info dumps, because I really like to see the book and the world as this like structured setting where like it's clear and obvious like how things work and how they operate. So I feel like that was done well in the first book. It does a pretty good job of world building. There's a conversation that Jace and Clary are having, like I think they're on like a horse carriage or something, and they're talking about how it's becoming more and more rare to see shadow hunters in the world, or they need to be making more shadow hunters, and like that was kind of interesting. So after the club scene happens and Clary and the squad, I don't really remember like how they get to this point, but they're somewhere and Clary and Jace are discussing how Clary wants to go back to her house. So she goes back to her house. It's like been ravaged by a demon, which obviously sucks, and like her mom is missing, like her mom is gone. And then there's a demon in the house, and Clary's able to defeat the demon, and I thought that was pretty cool. I don't think that happens in the movie that way, which like in the book, that's like how like she knew she's a shadow hunter, because she was able to like destroy this demon, which was like, that was just, I appreciated that. And then like she gets hurt though, and then when she gets hurt, they take her back to the Institute, which is where all the shadow hunters like train and all kinds of stuff. And Jace puts a rune on this girl's body, which is like, runes are what shadow hunters use to help themselves out in battles and stuff. And they like give them powers and strength and agility and whatnot. So he puts like a healing rune on her body, and like he doesn't know that she's a shadow hunter, so he's just like hoping for the best. And apparently if you put a rune on a person who is not a shadow hunter, they can die. So he really just was like, didn't give a fuck. So he didn't give a fuck about her at all. And y'all want to sit here like their love for each other is so forbidden and dark and crazy. This boy in chapter 6, I think it's chapter 6, literally is like, is she gonna live or not? I don't know. Let me put this healing rune on her and like Of course she lives, but like he didn't care if she lived. Simon and Isabel, though, that's the one. Jace sucks. I don't care. Jace sucks. Valentine was fine. Again, like he wasn't, I don't know, he didn't seem all that threatening. He only showed up at the end. The fact that he was Clary's father was interesting. That was interesting. Another character, haven't discussed yet. Magnus Bane. That character is so good. So we find out that Jocelyn had Magnus Bane put a spell on Clary to make her pretty much instantly forget memories as they happened, which that poor child, man, can you imagine? Like that's, again, like I'm sorry, Jocelyn sucks. Jace and Jocelyn need to just, I don't think they're good people. Magnus Bane, though, as a character, basically Clary's like finds out that she doesn't have all of her memories and she's trying to get her memories back, and then she goes to the Silent City where the Silent Brothers are, which are the people that have like they don't have a face because they're, I don't really know. I guess there's a whole bunch of mystery behind like what the Silent Brothers even are, how they become what they are, kind of. But the Silent Brothers like are trying to get Clary to remember her memories, and they're like, yo girl, there's too much stuff blocking this and like we can't figure it out, and she just hears like Magnus's name. So then they're like, oh, let's go find Magnus Bane. Somehow they find Magnus Bane. They go to a party where there's at Magnus Bane's house, and she's like, hey, can you like reverse the spell? And he's like, no, I'm good, because like I did such a good job with that spell that I don't want to undo it, because like I'm so proud of myself for the spell that I made. I love Magnus, but like that's literally what happened. Like that's what he did and what he said. He was like, I don't want to reverse that spell because it was so good. He said, I was so proud of my work on you, he said slowly, looking at Clary. So clean, so perfect. What you saw you would forget, even as you saw it. No image of pixie or goblin or long-legged beastie would remain to trouble your blameless mortal sleep. It was the way she wanted it. So basically, he thinks he's amazing, which like is kind of his character arc. So maybe, I mean, he's not my absolute favorite character. I think that he's a little too cocky for me. Like he's a good character, and he's a bisexual warlock. I mean, like what else can you want in your books? So they go to Magnus' house. They have like this party that happens or whatever, and then Simon like takes a drink of something and he becomes a rat. And like that was really when we really got to learn how much of an asshole Jace is, because him and Isabel, who I mean I do like her, but ooh man, they all were literally like, oh, like who gives a fuck that he became a rat? And Clary is like, this is my best friend, like what are you talking about? We have to go get him. And everyone is like, oh, he's just a mundane. And I'm like, what? These are the same people who are supposed to be fighting for mundanes to have demons like not kill them, and they're over here like, oh yeah, he became a rat, like it happens. Like what? So that was kind of sad for me to read, because as I have said, Simon was the best thing of all of this. I'm gonna go backwards again. Sorry. There's absolutely no rhyme or reason to this review. I'm just trying to like get all the things in here that I want to say. Towards kind of the beginning in the first 200 pages, we have a discussion going back to like the world building situation and how like Clary asks a lot of questions and Jace answers them, and it does like a pretty good job of, let's come up with what's a better way to describe an info dump? World building. Or like the lore. I feel like if you think of it as like mythology and world building and lore, it's a lot less, to me, I don't see it as an info dump. I see it as world building, which I guess some would argue is less valuable to them, but to me, I enjoy it. Clary is asking Jace, she said, are all the demons evil? If all the vampires aren't evil and all the werewolves aren't evil, then maybe, and Jace cuts her off and says, it's not the same thing at all. Vampires, werewolves, even warlocks, they're part human, part of this world, born in it. They belong here, but demons come from other worlds. this was the part I liked a lot. Actually, this is Jace saying it, so, but it was good world building. Thanks, Jace. Thank you for that contribution. He says, they're interdimensional parasites. They come to a world and use it up. They can't build, just destroy. They can't make, only use. They drain a place to ashes, and when it's dead, they move on to the next one. It's life they want. Not just your life or mine, but all the life of this world, its rivers and cities, its oceans, it's everything. And the only thing that stands between them and the destruction of all of this, pointing to the world. So I appreciated that. Is this in order? Does this make sense? Is this good content? No. Why are you here? Yeah, so that whole rat scene was disgusting and sad and really upsetting. Then there's another time that they go back to, this is what's happening. So Clary, for some reason, she's just drawing in her little sketchbook, and she draws like a coffee cup or something. This is what I'm talking about when I feel like Clary does things that they don't really have an explanation, and they just kind of like happen to her, and there's not really any like build up to it. So she just like draws a coffee cup, reaches into the piece of paper, and is like, boop, here's a coffee cup. Like, okay. She's like, look, I can do this thing. Okay. And then also somehow there's no like explanation as to how she comes to this conclusion, but then she's just like, I know where the mortal cup is now. Like, okay. She's like, because I reached into this piece of paper and I was able to pull a cup out of it, I bet that like every other picture of a cup I've seen, I can just like pull the cup out. But like, it was pretty cool in the movie whenever they did that. But so then they like go to like her neighbor Dorothy or whatever her name is. They go like to her house. So her neighbor has like this set of tarot cards, and like one of the cards is like this cup. So they're going there to get the cup because Clary's like, I bet the cup is in the tarot cards. So they go to get the cup, and like her neighbor is possessed, and she's like becoming a demon, or she became a demon, or somehow there's like a demon in her. I don't know. Like, what I really appreciated and really loved was how Simon drove them there. So he drove them to like go get the mortal cup, and the neighbor is like possessed by a demon and ends up like attacking them, and Simon saves them. And I thought that happened later, but it happens in this book, and I was so happy it happened in the first book because I would die for Simon. Like, I don't know what, like, that's all I can say. Like, Simon is, I'm just sorry. Like, he's perfect. I am pretty sure I said how I like Luke, but if I didn't say it already, like, Luke was good. And him like telling Clary the entire history of the circle and his involvement in it and what he did and how he became a werewolf, like that was good ass time. And then like a chapter later we meet Valentine, and like of course Clary finds out Valentine is her father. Like, whoa. Then Valentine is like, that's your brother, and she's like, no, I don't think so. No. To summarize, I love Simon, I hate Jace, Clary's fine. The plot was good. The plot was pretty good of this book. The world building was pretty good. Would I recommend this book? Yes, I would recommend this book. If you want to see nothing but Shadowhunter content for like 20 videos, subscribe, or don't. Actually, please don't, because then I'll have to like feel guilty about not making content if I decide to stop making content. I feel like this series like does a pretty good job of plot and characters. Like, obviously I care a lot about certain characters, and like I have very strong feelings towards every character. So all the main characters anyway. What else is there to say? It's iconic as fuck. So if you're spoiled on this book now and you find like everything that I said interesting / annoying, I mean, let me know if you think this book sounds like absolute trash. Is it absolute trash? Yes. I gave it 4 stars. Like what you like, hate what you hate. Live and let live, yo. Like, I'm so mature. Read it if you want, or don't read it and skip to the next one, because now you know everything that happens, except you don't know everything that happens because there's 500 pages in this book, and I obviously didn't touch on every single thing even though I wanted to, but like, who cares? Because this book is 13 years old. Would I recommend this book? Yes.